when we get a little older, our cognitive judgment isn't quite what it used to be. And sometimes it's harder to make those financial decisions and just even realize that somebody's trying to scam us or defraud us. And you know what? What happens? Why we're scammed so much is because the bad guys know that they can target us. So this is our first line of defense of just being aware of what to do. So today we're going to have some great information for you. My name is Lisa Crawford, and I'm the Vice President of Financial Wellbeing here at First United Bank, and so blessed y'all are all here today. I want to introduce our moderator, and she's going to be helping with the presentation. She's going to be dropping links into the chat box, and she's going to keep everything running in the background for us. Take it away, Allison Grace.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Allison Grace AK. I'm the Financial Wellbeing Specialist here at First United Bank, and I'm based in Denton, Texas. It is a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Thank you so much, AG. I call her AG, so when you hear me say that. Thank you so much for doing that. And anybody, if you have questions today, we're going to ask that y'all just drop them in the chat box. We're going to answer those toward the end of the presentation. Since we don't have a whole lot of time, we're going to kind of keep those questions towards the end so we get through with everything. Now, without delay, I'd like to introduce you to our fabulous guest speaker today. And it is Miss Elaine Dodd, and she's the Executive Vice President of the Oklahoma Bankers Association Fraud Division. That's a pretty big deal, y'all. She's pretty good. And Elaine spent 22 years in law enforcement with the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics. And she retired, y'all, as the director. So she knows what she's talking about. So now that she's with the Oklahoma Bankers Association, she does training like this for us bankers, for, investigative assistance for things that banks have. And she does training for folks like us, customers, and for just bankers. We need the help, with all the help we can get. All right, well, let's give a big First United Bank welcome to Elaine Dodd. Take it away, Elaine.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Delighted to be able to get to share with you today. I'm going to go through a lot of information very rapidly. So given that, I hope you can pay attention to the most important parts. I'm going to try to emphasize the things that you absolutely need to be doing on a daily basis. Some of the information is going to be a repeat if you've heard me speak in the past. I've done a lot of programs with First United, and these guys are absolutely wonderful at getting this information to you. So some of it you might have heard in the past, but if you're like me, it's good to be reminded every once in a while that there are things that we can do to make our world better. At OBA, we have the only fraud division still in the U.S. Our bankers took a chance on it and wanted to do something to help our customers. That picture there is my feed store in Blair. I was raised in a very small town in Oklahoma and very, very proud to be from there. And all of Oklahoma is God's country. We just have to protect our people, and particularly our most vulnerable, which also obviously includes our seniors. Seniors are not the only people that get hit by fraud. I have to remind you of that too. A lot of the new frauds are really hitting the young people first, and so it's not just us. And I am a senior. I have to tell you, I'm way into the seniorhood. So I include myself when I talk about seniors, folks. This slide I like to keep in there because it just makes a quick reminder for you. There is so much fraud out there, and we're hearing every day, there's identity theft, there's a breach, there's this and that, until we just get scared of everything. That's not what we want to do. We want you to be like this pup and to prioritize and realize the probability of risk is high and severity is serious in some occasions. If you're under the looming issues that could be a problem, then you need to pay attention to those. But the things that aren't as important, don't be focusing and worrying about them so much. We aren't here to worry you. What we're here to do is to make you understand there are easy things that we can do to stay more safe. And that's what we do, is bring to you tools so that every day you feel safe about your money, and you're partnering with your bank to be able to keep it safe, because they certainly want to do that for you. ID thieves, that just covers a myriad of folks out there. They want your bank account numbers. They want your credit card account numbers. Obviously, don't be giving those out. And you know your social security number. Don't be sharing that with people. If someone sends you a text or something to ask them for that, no, that's just not something you're going to do. Be very cautious with those numbers and only use them for their intended purposes. Your PIN number on your ATM card, your debit card, I have actually known people that have written down their PIN number on their card with a Sharpie and lost it somewhere. So keep those things safe, folks. How ID thieves get information. Still fun, and internet scams are huge. People are still stealing mail. That sounds very simplistic, but we have people actually who will watch your mailboxes, and they steal your mail to try to get account numbers, anything that they can do to build your identity, or checks out of there. And then they can either reprint the checks and use them in a lot of places, or just wash that one check and make it for a bigger amount and try to pass it somewhere. It happens all the time, folks. Dishonest employees can get information out there, and searching through the trash. Dumpster diving is still a way that people get information. The elephant in the room, one of the elephants, there's actually a lot of elephants in the room now, but on the fraud side, but the breaches. We had the Equifax breach, which was huge, 143 million people. But what you need to know is this: we have all been breached somewhere. You can be as careful as you can be, and your information is going to get out there. We absolutely know that on the underbelly of the web, people have our bank account, or we have our credit card numbers. They have ID information, address. They rarely have, but sometimes have your bank account information. So that can be out there. We are more cautious with that, so it does not exist in the wild as much on you. We have certain sites that we can go to. KrebsOnSecurity.com is a great place to look at the tech side of fraud. Also, I want to tell you that all of these sites, when I say you need to do these things and look at these, I'm going to get this information to the bankers. I'm going to add anything that you guys need me to add. If there's something specific and you want a link for, please put it in the chat. And our First United partners will certainly let me know, and I'll add it to the links, and we'll get that out to you. If you've had your information breached and you know it, one of the biggest things you can do is a credit freeze. That's easy to do. You can do it at no cost. All that means is you can't go in the store and just say, I want to open an account here today. You've got to unfreeze the link and you can refreeze it. It's really a wonderful safety thing to do. I also have my Social Security account at ssa.gov, which is Social Security Administration, obviously, but you can go there and set up your My Social Security account. You can see all of your information there, but what that does in addition is to keep the bad guys from setting one up in your name. We have actually had occasions where the fraudsters will set one of those up, and then when you start getting your Social Security, if you weren't already getting it, they will redirect it to another place. So set up your My Social Security account. I think it's a great thing to have anyway. Look at your credit card statements and your bank statements. I have here monthly. I look every other day. I know that's probably more than most people are going to do, but the big three for safety is looking at your credit card statements, looking at your bank statements, and then reviewing your credit report sometimes throughout the year. What you're looking for in your credit report is addresses where you haven't lived, accounts that you didn't open, things that just don't make sense to you, so that you can be on top of it. There's your information, which you will also get in the links for your annual credit report information. What is elder financial exploitation? It is simply taking money from seniors that people are not supposed to be taking. It can happen in a ton of ways, and it deprives the senior of money, the hard-earned money that we've worked to have. So why does it happen? A lot of people, when I talk to groups, I'll say, why do you think they target seniors? And people generally say, well, they're not as on top of things, or they're more trusting, all those things. Some of those things are very true, but the fact is they target seniors because seniors have the money. We have worked to save for our retirement, and we have those CDs, and we have money for our retirement that we can tap into. And that's what the bad guys want to get hold of. So that's why they target us first. It's not because you're not as smart, because I know seniors that are way smarter than younger folks, for sure. So it's not a negative. It's just they're going to target us first. One of the big reasons that they target seniors, though, if you'll see the third line, I bolded it, if they're lonely and socially isolated. And I really want you guys to pay attention to this, because especially since the COVID times when people were isolating more, we really had a boom in a lot of the frauds, because people really did want to talk to somebody on the internet or on the phone. They needed that connectivity, as we do. That's just human. So the bad guys take advantage of that. If you know someone that does not have an ability to get out to their church groups, to their domino games, anything that people would typically get out and interact with other people. If someone is isolated, you be that kind person that gives them calls, so that they don't think that the bad guys are the people that they need to be talking to. Older adults may also fear retaliation by the exploiter. We actually have people who their caregivers will say, I won't give you your meds if you can't give me this money, or if you won't buy me a car. We've had people actually buy homes for folks that are exploiting them. We've had people, if you want to buy someone a home, that is lovely and it's wonderful, but don't let anyone push you into it when it was not your choice. We're going to talk more about why people make those decisions, so I'm not going to go through all of those. But one of the big issues that I want you to think about is thinking long and hard about who you want as your power of attorney. You need to do that while you're still young enough and vibrant enough that you can make that decision the way that you want to. We have had two occasions, the ones that I have here on the slide. We had a woman who found her bio mom and got her power of attorney and stole $70,000 from her. We had a young man who stole $260,000 from his grandma through a POA, left her with almost nothing. It's just ridiculous. Both of those people incidentally went to jail. So but you need to think about who you want to have as your power of attorney, and do you really trust them? You also need to think about who you want on your bank account. What I want you to understand, and most of us know, but we don't think that something could go wrong with it. If you put someone on your bank account, say you are in your senior years and you don't have the accessibility to get out and do things, you may want someone to help you with some of your finances. If you put them on your account, you just need to either have total trust in them or understand that they are going to have access to that account after you're no longer with us. We had a woman who had a lot of money in her accounts. She put a friend on there, just needing the help from the friend, and the friend took every dime she had that was supposed to go to the family. So just know that you need to be thinking about who those people are that you do things like put on your accounts. Financial exploitation, it can be in a myriad of ways. Investment fraud is one of the big things. We have a wonderful group at Oklahoma Securities. Jennifer Shaw is one of their attorneys and just wonderful in the investment fraud side. So if you have someone that you think has been exploited by something like that, she can talk them down. It's like, no, you don't need to be buying gold from this yahoo. They're a fraudster. She can help you with those things. Theft or money or property by family, caregivers, we kind of talked about that already. And lottery and sweepstakes still out there. The grandma, grandpa scam where they call and say, oh, that's your grandson. I'm in jail. I was arrested. I'm embarrassed. Wire money. It's not them. So don't fall for those things. Charity scams, I have the answer, a slide with the answer at the end, and we'll send you information on how to check on charities. So there are a ton of ways out there. Telephone, internet scams, reverse mortgage fraud, contractor scams, especially after we have tornadoes that blow through and the things that do happen to our wonderful state. We do always have some contractor fraud and those kinds of issues after that. Who are the abusers? It can be anybody. It can be family members or caregivers. It can be the power of attorney folks. It can be financial advisors. If you don't choose wisely on that, you need to do that while we're still thinking about it. I have already done trust information so that I have everything lined out for my kiddos so that they don't have to guess what I want to have happening. So I think that's a great thing to do while you still can. Listen to your gut feelings. If something makes you feel just a little bit weird, then just think about it twice. Strangers are very often the abusers. So a lot of times people aren't even in the country and they'll call and threaten. I had one lady that got a call late night on a Saturday night and they told her that they were in her parking lot with a sniper rifle. None of that was true. They weren't even in the country. So don't let strangers take advantage of you in any way. If someone's trying to scare you, then you talk to someone. And that is the answer to most of these things. You want to talk to someone. Medicare scam operators, I want to bring that to your attention. The insurance department does a wonderful fraud tour every summer, talking about things like Medicare fraud. Ray Walker is one of the best in the world on that topic. So take advantage when you see those things coming through. Also go and listen to what you can learn on those topics. The romance scams are still at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week. I hear issues that are romance scams. We had a lady in Northwest Oklahoma that auctioned off her home. The only reason that we knew that she was auctioning that home to send the money to her boyfriend is that when she went to the bank, she asked them how to convert her money to Bitcoin. And they inquired as to why she needed to convert it to Bitcoin and found that she had auctioned off her home and was sending the money to her boyfriend, which we were able to get family involved and stop that. Romance scams, every form of it, and absolutely through the roof. Excuse me. That find affinity groups, people that are like us. So online prayer groups, book clubs, whatever it is might be your interest. And then they lure people off. Say you were on Words with Friends. They might say, come to Google Hangouts, and then they ask for your money. They have a small percentage of the numbers are reported. We know at least 304 million. I think that is just a drop in the bucket for what goes out every year. You can use Google reverse image search. If someone is saying that they're a certain person, you can reverse image. It's a Google thing. If you don't know how to do it, ask your grandkids or your kids. They know how to do it. And just Google the facts. Just check on people. Romance scams rose in all brackets in 2021, a huge spike in the younger people. As I was mentioned earlier, it's not just seniors, but the median loss to adults over 70 was more than the young people, and the median loss was around $9,000. That is a drop in the bucket to some of them. I know a gentleman that sent over $1 million. That happened. So things to watch for if you're asked to pay in cryptocurrency. That is a big idea or red flag for scams. 1 in 4 romance scams hinged on gift cards, and that is one of the biggest ways. They'll try to get you to get gift cards for various reasons. I just had one case where someone was told to get gift cards to pay the IRS. They were told that they owed money, which they did not owe, but told to go get gift cards. If you have friends doing this, we all have to take care of each other. If you have someone that is getting a gift card for something that you know doesn't sound right, you need to tell them that that is one of the biggest signs of fraudsters. So we need to stop people from doing that. You send them, the way that works, they ask you to send them the number that's on the card and they can pull it off remotely in seconds, and then the money's gone. And IRS doesn't take gift cards, incidentally. That's just kind of an obvious, it's those obvious things that you just go, what were you thinking? But when somebody's in the middle of this, they don't think as clearly. A lot of times they start on dating apps, and now social media sites are as big as the dating apps, and they draw victims in using photos from internet sites. Adult Protective Services is our go-to on a lot of these. There are two resources. Not your bank would be your first resource. If you think you're having a romance scammer or someone's trying to scam you, you can always go talk to that friendly smiling face at your bank and let them help you to walk through this, because they've seen all the frauds. They know what's going on. The other two resources, law enforcement, FBI is a wonderful partner on these types of issues, and local law enforcement can sometimes step in and unconvince or convince someone they're being scammed, unconvince them that they're being romanced maybe. And Adult Protective Services is really one of our best go-tos. And they can help assess things like lack of executive function, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. Social engineering is just pushing people over and talking them into things. A friend of mine was on a dating site, and the first line was, "Hi, I'm a gentleman from Oklahoma, Tulsa." Well, not how we say it if you're from Oklahoma. We are the weakest link. If you look for things that are inconsistent, if it doesn't make sense, it just listen to when the hair goes up on the back of your neck, listen to that. I'm not going to play this just in interest of time, but I just want you to know we have a wonderful video. You can Google or YouTube for Jess and social engineering. I will put that also on the links if you want to go out and look at this. But it's a young lady that calls a guy's phone carrier. She is able, without any information, to get them to change over information. She sets a pin on the account, so he's actually locked out of his account. They give her all kinds of information. That can happen. I need you to understand that. So there are people call our banks trying to impersonate you. Our bankers work very hard to be tuned in to watch for that. But they can call other folks you do business with and pretend to be you and get into your accounts. In this video, the lady uses a background sound of a baby crying, and that creates empathy. It creates urgency. And who doesn't want to help someone that has a crying baby? And even if people don't like crying babies, they're going to hurry and get her off the line. In social engineering, the big three for how they can tip us over into error states: greed is one of the biggest ones. Lottery scams, best example of that. I still talk to people every week that have had a lottery scam, and they will say things to me like, well, what if it is real and you're standing between me and $5 million? And I have to say, I have never seen anyone get a dime off of these. You can finally talk people down, but there is that lure of big money. It's hard to fight that when somebody gets us in that state. Emotions are the next way they can get us over. That grandparent scam is a great example of that. The bigger thing, though, is the romance scams. Once they get someone's heart in it, if someone is in love, thinks they're in love with somebody, it's really hard to unconvince them. And I've had very smart people that have fallen for those kinds of scams. And the final of the big three is fear. If they can get people fearful, they'll call and say, this is the IRS and you owe us money, we're going to come arrest you, which that is not how it works. I've also had people call and say they're drug enforcement and they're coming to arrest people. Not how it works, folks. But if they can get you scared, they can get you more emotional, and they can sometimes tip you over to these frauds. Now, there is a wonderful piece, and this will also be on your links just so you'll know where to look it up. But AARP, who is a wonderful partner, we've worked very closely with them for years. They did a video a number of years back, but it is still so on point and so perfect. It's called The Weapons of Fraud. And again, you'll get that link and you'll get that information. You can just Google for that. I would encourage you to look at it because it goes through, it's probably, I don't know, 10 minutes long, 15, but it goes through all of these nuances of persuasion tactics and ways that people can persuade you, like phantom fixation, to make you be thinking about, for example, well, what Mercedes have you always wanted? Well, I wanted a blue one. Well, that's what we're going to be able to give you. Then that gets in your brain. And that phantom fixation is the thing that you want to work toward. Social proof, the fraudsters will be saying, well, all your friends are doing it, so you have to do it. Authority, they'll call and say, we're IRS, we're DEA, we're someone who has some force and effect authority over you. Scarcity is one of the easiest ones to explain for me because in years past, I haven't recently, but I have actually purchased things from Home Shopping Channel and deal of the day. Who can resist that, right? But the scarcity, if you pay attention to how those folks work, they'll show you this wonderful, say, purse that you think you might want, and then it'll be, we only have 8 left of the red one, so you're going to have to act now. Scarcity, it's that act now that people have to act on, and it works for people. A reciprocity, if you're going to do this one little thing for us and we're going to give you millions for it. Similarity and affinity, the affinity crimes, Bernie Madoff, he was an affinity criminal. He took the money from everybody in his social circle. And because they knew him and trusted him, well, he goes to the same religious affiliation, and he goes to our country club. The affinity, people were sucked in and turned over their money to Bernie, even family, as I understand. So that is a huge way to do it. We had a preacher, a pastor in Oklahoma that was helping, and unknowing, he wasn't meaning to be a part of it, but he was helping with affinity crimes in that he was helping people to wanting people to buy Iraqi dinars, which were worthless. But because they had that religious affiliation with him, they trusted him. Consistency and contrast are 2 of the other ways. And I would encourage you to look at that video. It's pretty great. Financial capacity, just here's what you need to understand about folks. That if we're going to help other people on this, but executive function is the ability to make a plan and carry it out. That is what our business decisions are made in the frontal lobe, that red part of the brain there. If that frontal lobe alters, and it happens, it's not dementia, it's not Alzheimer's, it's just an alteration of your frontal lobe, you can lack executive function. And that means you can no longer make business decisions. It happens to a small percent of the population, but you'll know it when it happens to someone because they fall for fraud after fraud after fraud. I have one guy, Ed, who's called me every other week for decades, and he still believes every time that it's going to work. With lottery scams, I've mentioned that people are moving to gift cards to have payments on these things. Phone tech support, just don't let anybody say, this is Microsoft and you have a virus. Microsoft is not going to do a pop-up on a virus. If something comes up on your computer and it says you've got a problem, what you need to do is immediately take it to the Geek Squad or one of your grandkids again and let someone check it out. Don't let anybody remote into your computer to fix it for you at a high cost. I've had dear friends who've actually done that at a very high cost, and we had to get everything cleaned on their computers. So that is one tactic the bad guys use. There are still counterfeit cashier's checks and corporate checks out there. Cryptocurrency, still a big way. They'll ask you to convert it to Bitcoin, and they'll tell you where to find an ATM that can convert it now. It's kind of crazy. They also are using the crypto heavily in investment scams now. Other payment avenues, Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all of those are good for the purposes they're intended for. I use some of those for payments that I do, but you just have to be absolute certain that you know who you're sending it to. That is the trick of that. So if someone asks you to Zelle because they're in love with you or something that might even be a little bit of a scam, if you haven't met them, don't be sending them money through any of these apps. The phishing, the way that you can get someone into your computer, there's an example of Dropbox. There are different ways they'll send you links that you're not supposed to click on. I like to show this one because this is one that would, if I were going to click on one, this would be it. If I'm in the middle of a really good Netflix murder show or whatever, I don't want to have to stop because they've suspended my account. What I am not going to do, though, is click restart your membership. I will not click a link on something like that. I'll go out to Netflix myself. And this one came to me, and it's hello #name. It didn't even have my name in it. So, that one was obvious. I got this one right when the Russia-Ukraine crisis started. I had a phone call with the FBI at that time talking about how our banks were working to be sure that people did not have any issues on as a result of this. And they made the point that Russians were going to really hit our cyberspace. I got this one the day after the crisis started. It shows at the top, if you look at the .hu, it would make you think it's from Hungary. But the first link there is .ru. So it's someone from Russia trying to get me to click a link to get into my computer. I get this from Mike Cox email saying, here's an invoice. No, it's not. I get this from a friend that I haven't talked to in 10 years saying, here are your pictures. These are exactly the kinds of things you're going to get. The banks see different smishing things. This one has more examples on here, so I'm going to go to this one to show you. If you get text, and the problem with text is this, folks, we know to watch for links on our computer. We hear that all the time. But most texts we get from a friend. It's a trusted partner or family. So you see a text and you might click it. No, don't. Be very, very cautious with your texts. There are examples here. You've won a $1,000 Walmart gift card. No, you haven't. Your IRS tax refund is here. In the center, your FedEx packaging, Wells Fargo Bank, your account is temporarily locked. Do not click any of these links. These are just examples for you to see. There's just a myriad of ways, because if one of them doesn't work for you, then another one might tip you over. On text, just the down and easy tips, look for urgency if they're suspicious, impersonal, too good to be true. Do not click on the links, and let your bank know if you have clicked on the links. Passwords, be safe with them. And the big thing I want you to carry away from this, your banking password should never be used anywhere else. Just have that be its own thing that only you know, but it's not anything that you use anywhere else. Social media is a way you can get folks in to not only send you bad links, but also the romance scams. I got this one from supposedly a guy named Jack Barr, wanted to be my friend. Not interested in the guns on his guns. This one I got from LinkedIn. A lot of us trust LinkedIn. It's a professional thing that we all believe in. Mukhtar sent me something saying he wanted to be my friend on LinkedIn. However, he said that he was an accountant at Oklahoma Bankers Association, which is where I work, and there are only 12 of us, folks. So I know all 12 of us, and it's not Mukhtar. But one of our bankers had clicked on it because she was thinking someone from OBA did want to be her friend on LinkedIn. So just know that those are out there. Just because money is wired into your account does not mean that it's necessarily real money. There are money mules. People can wire big money into your account. They've stolen it from other companies. That's what I want you to understand. Just because someone wires money into your account does not mean that it's real. A lady in Massachusetts had been the conduit. She was the money mule that was responsible for sending millions of dollars out of the country. They'd send her 100,000 here, 50,000 there, and she was wiring the money out. So we were able to get her stopped, but don't be a money mule. If someone sends you money and says, well, I don't have a bank account or whatever reason they might say, no, do not trust it. Just because money is wired into your account does not mean it's not stolen from a company. And we work on those literally on a weekly basis. Your credit cards, a lot of people are worried about the skimmers on credit cards. If you're using your ATM or some such entity, if you're at your ATM, put your hand over the keypad. That's an old way to do it, but it does keep the bad guys from being able to use a pinhole camera and get your PIN number. I do want you to know, we're getting toward the end of this, but I do want you to realize and know that everyone in Oklahoma is a mandatory reporter. We, by law, are required to report any vulnerable adults that are being exploited. That is not only seniors, but also anybody who's vulnerable. So just know that is a requirement, and there is nothing wrong when you're helping people in reporting. Our bankers are wonderful on that front. Action steps, I've already talked about my SSA. If you are nervous about something, talk to your friends, your family, your banks. You can always know that they're going to know the latest in scams. Law enforcement, APS, listen to those people. We've already talked at length on not clicking on links. Don't answer your phone if you don't recognize the number. That's a given. And share your story if you think you've been scammed. Now, I'm going to use this last minute to just show you some resources that you're going to have in the information that you get. There's the Take Charge book, which is an ID theft book. Oklahoma Securities Info, I mentioned how great they are to help us with investment scams. ABA, our national counterpart, has a lot of information that is not behind their paywall. So you can go to their seniors links and get tons of information to share with people. Money Smart for older adults with CFPB, same, saveandinvest.org. FTC, here's an example of don't pay in cryptocurrency to keep your power on. It's a scam. Go to FTC, go to AARP, and I can't recommend them enough, guys. They absolutely have such wonderful information at AARP and videos and things. If you have someone that just won't listen, that's maybe a way to help them. I have to admit, though, sometimes you're going to hit people that just aren't going to listen to you. I'm not a big watcher of Dr. Phil, but I can tell you that he does some of the best shows on the romance scams, but I've seen him have someone on there and he's like, see, this is the person whose picture you have. He's not the one talking to you. He goes through all this litany of details, and still the people are saying, if he says he loves me, I'm still in. It's hard, but we have to take care of each other. That's our job. Here's information. Again, you'll have it on your links. If you have suspected charity fraud, check it out. You can go to one of these sites and they can tell you if the charity is on the up and up. There's a site for identity theft victims. This Managing Someone Else's Guide is one of my very favorite pieces. You may find them in your bank. They may already have them for you. There is no cost for them if you go out to the federal websites and get these, but it tells you if you're managing someone else's money, the best way to make that happen. And I promised to do that in 38 minutes, and that was the best I could do, ladies. I just want to encourage you, please don't hesitate to go to your bankers because they really are working hard to keep you safe, and you know they're the folks you can trust. So thanks, guys. I'm going to stop here.
Thank you so much, Elaine. That's just incredible. And we're going to do questions here in just a second. Before we get to those questions, though, I want to give everybody an opportunity to win. This is not a scam. I promise. I promise you it's not a scam. We're going to be giving away Amazon gift cards in a random drawing. And you're like, well, how do I get into that drawing? All we want you to do is go here and take this really quick survey. And when you take the survey, you're entered into the drawing for those Amazon gift cards. You can grab your cell phone and hover it over the screen to get the QR code, or Allison Grace is going to be dropping that link into the chat box, and you can just go from there. So I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes. I'm going to set my timer right now. So go and do that survey, because we want you to be in that drawing for the Amazon gift cards, right? All right, I'm starting it now. For those that are already through taking the survey, we've just got a few seconds left, but just real quickly wanted to let you know what we're going to be having next month. And we're going to have Allie Townsend she is the manager of our fraud department here at First United Bank. And she's going to be talking about some of the most prevalent scams that we see here at First United, and to learn more about how you can manage fraud when you see things and what to do. And so you don't want to miss it. Here's all the information that you need right here to register for next month on September 22nd. All right, we've got about 10 seconds left. And we're going to go to, right after we finish, we're going to go to answering questions. All right, the timer has gone off. So, all right, Elaine or Allison Grace, do you see any questions in the chat box?
Let's see. Here's a question a little bit earlier. It says, who deserves that information? I assume all medical contacts need it, considering we are enrolled in Medicare.
Exactly. Anyone that you're doing a Medicare transaction, yes, absolutely. That's what that number is for. But short of that, if anyone asks for your Medicare information, or certainly your Social Security information that you know doesn't deserve it. Now, on the Social Security front, for giving that one out, even when I give it, a lot of doctors' offices will say, well, we have to have this. Well, first off, really, they usually don't. But when I give it to them, when I do, I'll say, nobody else has this number. And if it gets out there in the wild, I'm going to assume it came from you guys. So I'm going to want it shredded or at least protected here. I'm just very cautious about giving out any of those numbers.
That's a good plan. Any other questions? If you have a question and you want to come off of mute, if you do want to drop off real quickly and you don't want to stay to hear the answers to questions, we just want to let you know that we're thankful for you being here today. And thank you so much, Elaine, for being our guest speaker. But I want to tell you, I will be sending you all some valuable resources, all the ones that Elaine has talked about today. And we'll have a link to the recording for you too. So we'll get that to you as soon as that recording's available. But in the meantime, if you have some questions and you want to
there are some more questions here.
Okay.
There was the James Key said that he had contacted Canon to help fix his printer, and they wanted access to his computer using an app called AnyDesk. I initiated the contact, but it just seemed right. Is it legit?
I am not familiar with AnyDesk, so I can't answer that specific company, but as long as you have initiated the contact at a number that you know is really those people. Now, if you'd seen a pop-up on your screen and it said, hey, you've got a Canon problem, let us know, I wouldn't trust that. I would go out, find the number myself, contact them. At that point, I have let people, our tech people at my office, they will come in, and I'm always grateful when I can let them in, but they're our tech backup, so I know I can let them in. I think probably your Canon thing sounds like it might have been okay as long as you originated it.
I see one. It says, I've gotten emails from Amazon and PayPal saying they're suspending my account. I haven't clicked on anything because I thought it was a fraud. Do you think it is?
Absolutely. Without question, it is a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't click on anything. If you wanted to know, go to your Amazon account and look and see if they have anything red flagged for you.
Yeah, and don't click on the link to try to go to your Amazon account there.
Exactly. Never click on anything. The robocalls are down by 50% because we've been working with our Fed partners and the carriers. Robocalls are down. Text scams are way up.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that it's probably generally a fraud.
I have a question about the title fraud. What is, we see these ads on television about protecting your title on your home. What is the best way to do that?
Title insurance.
Title insurance, great idea. And short of that, I kind of wonder about some of the companies that are giving those commercials on the title fraud. So I'm not sure all those commercials saying we'll protect you and do all those. I'm not sure they're on the up and up. Bigger than the title fraud, though, I tell you something that everyone needs to be aware of is there is so much fraud that is perpetrated on the real estate industry. I know a lady recently, very, very bright, almost lost more money than you can even imagine because she had a fraudster that she'd maybe clicked on a link at some point. The fraudster was in her computer, sent her redirected information for the money that she was using to purchase a large piece of land. She used that redirected account information and almost lost almost $1 million. We were able to get it held because we knew it fast enough. But that happens a lot with real estate issues right now.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you said to work with your insurance company, you like your home insurance?
When you buy a home, every house has to have title insurance when you buy or sell a home.
Okay, I misunderstood you. Title insurance. Okay, thank you.
Yes, we've got great, wonderful resources that you're going to have. And if you signed up before today, then you got a reminder email from Sign Up Genius where you signed up. And it had an attachment with it, which is one of the things that Elaine mentioned in here. It's Money Smart for older adults from the FDIC and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's hard to say all that. And that was something that we sent to you. So if you didn't receive it, then we'll send you the link for where you can get that. I'm sure Elaine has it in her information too. So great. We're just giving you so much. It's just going to be crazy how much you're going to get. You're going to love it. You will love it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, anybody else have any questions? We just want to thank you again for being here today, everybody. And I know we went a little over just due to the questions and everything, but we're just thankful for you to be here. We're going to send you some wonderful resources and a link to the recording. So be looking in your email for it from us. So AG, Allison Grace, Elaine, and y'all didn't know who that other voice was. That was Jennifer Henniger. She works with us as well. She's been helping too. And all of us just want to say thank you so much for being here with us. And remember, next month we will have Allie Townsend with our fraud department here at First United, and you can register for that. And it's Thursday, September the 22nd. Okay. Thank you again. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you very much.
It's great.
Bye.